friends, I Radha Soni, Assistant Professor in Biani Group of Colleges. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on types of communication on behalf of gurukpure.com. But before starting my lecture, I want to discuss what is communication and the process of communication. Now, what is communication? Communication derived from a Latin word communis, that means common, or you can say communicare, that means to share, to impart, to convey, or to transmit. Now question arises, what or to whom you want to communicate. Communication means exchange of ideas, thoughts, views, beliefs, and attitude and emotion from sender to receiver with a proper channel of media. Now the question arises, what is the process of communication? Communication means when the sender, or you can say encoder, transmits or convey his idea, his thoughts through a proper channel to the receiver in the form of or using any media. Now, who is a receiver? Receiver is also known as decoder. He translates the message sent by the receiver, and accordingly he then understand and send to the sender again in the form of feedback. In communication, the communication cannot be complete until and unless the receiver send the feedback to the sender. This is known as two-way communication. Let's move further to the types of communication. Now here we are divided the communication on three types. The first one is on the basis of way of expression, on the basis of organization structure, and on the basis of direction. On the basis of expression. On the basis of expression, communication is divided into two parts, verbal and non-verbal. Now, verbal communication. What do you mean by verbal communication? Verbal communication होता क्या है? Verbal communication is further divided into oral and written. Now, what is oral communication? Oral communication means the communication which is done through words of mouth, or which is done through face to face or using electronic media like telephone. Now, oral communication influenced by what? Oral communication influenced by voice, pitch, clarity of words and thoughts. Now, in oral communication, what can be the example of oral communication? Oral communication means conference, giving orders, discussion, etc. Now, what is written communication? Written communication defined as the words or symbol used by sender to send his information and message to the receiver, either in printed form or through handwritten. Now, in written communication, what influenced the written communication? Written communication influenced by words, vocabulary, way of writing, grammar, etc. In oral and written communication, we used acronyms. Acronym, what is acronym? In this, we use acronym that is KISS. KISS, KISS. KISS means keep it simple and short. If the message we are conveying is simple and short, it will be understood by the receiver correctly. Let's move further to non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication means in which the words are not required, or we can say it can be wordless. Wordless means if the communication done through expression of body is by using gestures. Gestures can be positive or gesture can be negative. Now, what is positive gestures? Being confident, being relaxed, being confident, being relaxed is positive gestures. Now, what is negative gesture? Negative gesture means shivering, looking again and again at the watch is negative gesture. Let's move on the second. Second is on the basis of organization structure. On the basis of organized structure, communication divided into two, formal and informal. What is formal communication? Formal communication means the communication which is done through a chain of command or through proper order is formal communication. What can be the most important point in formal communication? In formal communication, it is error free, or we can say in formal communication there are no chance or there is no error, because the information which is passed or which is flow is authentic and viable. What can be the example of formal communication? Like meetings, memos, reports which is given by higher authority to the lower authority through proper media or through proper channel of command. In formal communication, proper rules, proper procedure, proper principle are followed by the organization. Let's move to informal communication. Informal communication means communication which is flow in all direction, or we can say communication which is done to build relationship among superiors, subordinates, among peer groups, etc. In informal communication, there is one drawback. In informal communication, the information which is flow is not authentic, or we can say there are more chances of rumor. This type of communication mainly held in movie halls, canteens, etc. Now the last, on the basis of direction. On the basis of direction, again this is divided into two, vertical and horizontal. Before discussing vertical and horizontal, I would like to discuss what is interscalar and what is intrascalar. Interscalar means when the communication is done at managerial level, or we can say when the communication is done vertically. Vertical communication means communication either move downward or communication move upward. Now what is downward communication? When the higher authority instruct or passes information to the subordinates, it is known as downward communication. Now what can be the example of downward communication? Downward communication means giving orders, writing memos, giving reports, etc. Now the question arises, what is horizontal communication? Horizontal communication means when the communication flow at the same level people, or we can say at the same level. Up same level can be IT sector, HR department, marketing department, etc. Now what is the need of horizontal communication? Horizontal communication is used to build relationship or to coordinate between different departments, like HR communicate to finance or finance communicate to marketing to run the organization smooth. Here we can here lastly I want to conclude communication on the basis of expression, on the basis of structure and on the basis of direction. Thank you.